How long does a molecule of DHA last in the brain? 2.5 years. That's why it's called a half-life. The
Yeah.
average half-life is 2.5 years, meaning only half of it's gone. You still have the other half still left. So
Right.
half of it's 3.5, half of it's 1.5. The average is 2.5. So you get years where it stays there. That's why you don't need what these are telling you. Like I said, the mitochondria of the heart causing congestive heart failure, which there's epidemics of now. Heart disease is hitting people in their 30s like
Yeah.
you wouldn't believe. Cancer is getting them, and
Yeah.
talk about that too after if we have time.
Welcome to Take Back My Brain with Laurie Hammer, where real healing starts in the brain. I'm Laurie, a functional nutritionist and mom who's walked the path from anxiety and burnout to clarity and calm. Each week, we're going to dive into brain-based tools like amino acid therapy, gut health, fasting, and faith to help you reclaim your energy, emotions, and sense of self. Well, everyone, welcome back. Today, I have a real treat for you. So if you have wondered about how oils affect your brain, affect your heart, affect your health in general, and we've heard all of this information about bad oils, good oils, omega-6, omega-3, what are we supposed to be consuming? Are they really that bad? Etc. So I have with me today a very special guest. His name is Brian Peskin. And if you have not read this book, this is like the Bible, the PEO solution. This is a phenomenal book. It's amazing. And I take Brian's supplement Pure Form on a regular basis, myself and the rest of my family. And I love this stuff. So we're going to talk about why this is all so important. And Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, like, you're a genius in this area and you are so full of information and
Well, it's all it's all I do. We're the
right.
only group in the world that specializes in physiologic lipids, meaning how are they incorporated into the cells and tissues, not just floating around in the bloodstream. So the insight we've gained over 25 years, that's all I
Right.
do, is incredible. And everybody is getting highly misled in the seed oil thing. But I'll clarify all that easily.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's dive into it. Well, first of all, how did you get into all this? Because, what's your story? Like, what led you to this?
Excellent question. I'm a degreed engineer, electrical engineering from MIT, Mass Institute of Technology. So I can think. Very good with systems. Input, system,
Yep.
output. So my wife became type 1 diabetic in her 30s, doing everything right, exercising her tail off, eating at the time the high carb diet, and goes out to California to Whitaker's Institute, big diabetic name at the time, since closed because of the immense failure rate with the high and low glycemic index food, which is utter nonsense. I could talk about that
We
later.
could talk about
So it
that.
was
Yeah.
personal. It was personal. And it was like, goes out there, spend thousands of dollars. Mother's diabetic too. Comes back. They're both worse. So
Mm,
it's like, now I see why they don't give you the blood chemistry when you're there. They wait
yeah.
till you get home and send it to you because nobody paid the bill because you're worse. And
Right.
it was like, look, you're a good science guy. These doctors don't know what they're doing. This is back in the 80s now. It's going way back. And luckily, in Houston, we have the world's biggest cancer center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and they were kind enough to let me stay in the Jesse Jones library that has 300,000 journal volumes and
Mm,
medical textbooks. So after years and years of being there, it was, my goodness, the science says this, and what they're saying says the opposite.
right.
Somebody's got to start doing something. Now, there were a few decent books at the time. You had Atkins with No Science, anecdotal, which is okay. But you had Protein Power by Eads that was excellent. You had
Yep.
Martinis and Whipped Cream that was excellent. You had The Exercise Myth by Simon and Schuster by a cardiologist,
Yeah.
1950, that was excellent. So you had a few books, but nobody had the breadth of science. So after years, the first book came out, Living Beyond the Zone, think this was the late 90s.
Yeah.
And it was, my goodness. We had the top nutritionists at Methodist telling you to have 60 teaspoons of sugar a day. That's
They
300
were
calories,
so
300
bad,
grams of carbohydrates,
right?
5 grams per teaspoon. Burn that into your mind, everybody. Every 20 calories of carbohydrate is a teaspoon of sugar every 5 grams. So the question is, okay, big deal. How much is in the bloodstream? Being an engineer, millimoles per deciliter. That doesn't mean much to me. I like teaspoons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took about 5 minutes and it was like less than a teaspoon. This can't be right. They're
Yeah.
telling us to eat 60 and there's a teaspoon of sugar in the bloodstream. Well, I double checked it. It's 70 to 90 milligrams per deciliter. It translates to 7/10 to 9/10 teaspoon, less than a teaspoon. Sugar in the entire bloodstream, 5 quarts of blood. Then the next thing was, where does it go
Right.
if I'm eating this 60 teaspoons? Well, if you're an athlete burning it up, you can burn up the sugar. But if you're not an athlete, all goes to fat. Why? Insulin response. And what everybody needs to know and is not told, there's no insulin response to fat at all. So fat does not go to fat.
Right.
Anybody telling you that's liar. I don't
Liar,
care if you
liar.
lie or if you just don't know. It's all the same to me. You're That's why I'm brutal. If I let people get away with saying the wrong information, hundreds and thousands of people listening, your podcast is good because you know what you're talking about, but there's a pile that don't. It's
Right.
called political nutrition. They're going to kill people. And our government created the diabetes epidemic in America. Endocrinologist Dr. Beebe said, Brian, probably don't know this, but pre-1940, 0 type 2 diabetics. 0. Type 1 diabetes with Vanting, that was an academic exercise. Nobody
Right.
was type 1. Nobody. Biggest epidemic in the world, and it's not stopping. So carbohydrates are sugar. It goes right to them. And to answer the high versus low glycemic index, I'm a science guy. Show me the graph. Don't tell me more or less. That means nothing to me. How high is up, an inch or to another planet? It doesn't tell me anything.
Right.
10 minutes. This was out of the Dannon yogurt group in France. When you look at the curves, the low glycemic index food took 10 more minutes to reach the same level of blood glucose. And it gets worse. The low glycemic index people had a higher resting glucose level, which is putting on the road diabetes. So my comment is, you want to eat carbs? Have the simple sugar. You want half a Coke? Do that. That's 4 teaspoons of sugar. You'll have a lower blood sugar level, but we keep getting misled. And today, nobody wants the science. It's so rare. We're in the TikTok 6-second generation.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Well, here's why nobody has any attention. And I say we're in the Walking Dead area, just like the TV show, because they don't have these oils. We'll talk about it in the brain. There's no blood flow. You have guys with ED in their 30s. I'm watching TV going, what on God's earth is this? This guy looks like he's 35. Half of them are getting balding, no blood flow to the frontal lobe, ED all over the place, sperm counts down by over half. They're effeminated guys. The women are getting masculinated. The shapes of people are hideous, all tied to these oils. Everything in moderation, Brian. Little cyanide in moderation, little arsenic in moderation. Anybody telling you that knows nothing, because that's what somebody would say if you didn't know anything. Minimize your risk. Just take a little of this, a little of that, a little. Wrong. Take a little poison, you're still dead. So it's not that. You need to know what you're doing. And the deal with lipids, oils, 100 trillion cells, Laurie, and it's called a bilipid membrane. It's a double membrane of lipid. And 25 to 33% are the parent oils, what I call parent omega-6 and parent omega-3. Parent omega-3 is the parent. The derivatives are DHA, EPA.
Mm-hmm.
LA is the parent omega-6. Derivatives are GLA, AA, arachidonic acid. They get bigger. So
Yeah.
derivatives are bigger. It's like parents and offspring. If you get the parents, you will make the offspring. And we'll talk about the brain extensively because everybody listening is going to be shocked when they hear what I have to say, why DHA for the brain is next to worthless. Nobody tells
I love to hear
anybody
you say
this.
that because people don't believe me when I say that. So,
Well, I'll give you the answer right now.
yeah.
First question is, with all these recommendations, how much DHA is used by the human body? Well, your biggest depository is the brain. Next one is the retina. Next one's, in the nerves a bit. And then how much is used? Milligram wise. I'll give you the answer.
Yeah.
It's 0.7 to 7 milligrams. Now, milligrams. Well, compare that with your 1,000 milligram capsule, which
Yeah.
is at least a third DHA EPA. DHA and EPA are retroconvertible, so they're the same. EPA goes to DHA, DHA can go back to EPA. They don't tell you that either. So
Right.
they're the same pool. So if you look at 30%, and I'm being conservative, that's 300 milligrams. 300 milligrams, take an average of a normal brain person because the 0.7 is for a small person. The 7 is for a 300-pound linebacker, playing football. It's size because it's physically incorporated. Other things are not. Minerals aren't physically incorporated. Vitamins aren't. They're coenzymes.
Can you explain that a little more before you go on, Brian? What do you mean by physically incorporated?
They make it.
Okay.
So when I give you an organ like the heart, 4% of it is LA, for example. It's made up of those oils
Okay.
in the composition, in the cell membrane. That's why
Right.
I'm a theoretical physiologist, because you can't see it. But it's the cell structure, and that's where we start. The cellular structure, it is the brick and mortar of your body. So the analogy is, I have a house. The beams are falling apart, but I have beautiful paint, beautiful sheetrock covering it up. The house is dying. And all of a
Mm.
sudden it falls apart, and you go, how can it fall apart? It looks beautiful. Well, you got an illusion. And that's what a lot of people are doing today. So we start with the brick and mortar, which is parent omega-6 and parent omega-3. And what people aren't told either is there's 12 times more parent omega-6 than parent omega-3 in the body.
Yeah, we're
So
not
anybody
told that.
telling you, oh, we're overdosed on omega-6. No, we're not. It's 12 to 1. Average organ is 4 times. The muscles are 6.5 times. The fat stores are 25 times. If you're starving, the parent omega-6 is key. And if you look at all the foods, they're all loaded with omega-6.
Yeah.
The only ones that aren't grass, a lot of omega-3. Lettuce has some. But even the cow doesn't want it. It burns most of it up because, as you probably know, grass-fed beef is 2 to 1 parent omega-6 to parent omega-3. So
Correct.
even though it's 90% omega-3 in the grass, it's the rare one, the cow is not using it. So we're stupider than the cows with what we're recommending. It's horrible. Back to how much is used in the brain. I had to digress a little bit because there's just so much here.
Yes.
And we don't stop getting misled where nobody's giving you facts. They're just giving you their opinion. And it's going to kill you. It
Mhm.
is absolutely going to kill you. The Walking Dead is our result now. There's no blood flow. So the amount used is like a milligram to 7 milligrams. So if I take 300 as average, and say 5 milligrams a day, if I take 300, that's 60 times more than I need.
Right.
Okay, Brian, you didn't add the eye. Fine. It's 30 times. And you didn't add everything else. Fine. It's 25 times. The analogy, Laurie, would be take 25 aspirin, call me in the morning. Don't, I'm being facetious. You will bleed and you could bleed to death. This
Right.
is what, and that's one capsule. People are always saying, oh, the reason the DHA didn't work is because we need more. And you're saying 4 grams. That's 4,000 milligrams. That could be 50 to 500 physiologic overdose on a daily basis.
Why is that a problem?
It's a good question. Doesn't your body just burn it up?
Right.
Hell no. Number one, it gets shoved where it shouldn't be. There was a superb article came out 2018, 2017. They looked at hearts, and the conclusions were the parent omega-6 replaced the DHA in the mitochondria of the heart tissue because these people were suffering congestive heart failure, which means the heart doesn't have enough energy to go boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. It's just sitting there. Blah. So your ejection fraction, the amount of blood coming out is decreased. Omega rescues the overdose of DHA. So DHA displaces the parent omega-6 where it's supposed to be. The other big one, skin.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing nobody's been told, your skin's 100% parent omega-6. No omega-3 in there, parents or derivatives. The minute a derivative is in there, like DHA, displaces the omega-6, what's the problem? Another thing nobody's been told, fish oil is rancid at 70-degree room temp.
Can you say that
How
one more
can you
time for
prove
the
that?
audience? Say it again.
70 degrees, fish oil turns to rust, spontaneously oxidizes. Okay? It goes bad in the body. Now, we're at 98.6.
Mm-hmm.
So you're making it 3-4 times worse. In the body, it's going wicked bad. What does that cause? All the antioxidants come out of your brain. Why do we have dementia and Alzheimer's through the roof? Your body goes, this genius just took all this DHA. It's going bad. Get the antioxidants in. Now your brain's unprotected. That precisely explains a little bit about why we see an astronomical rise in dementia and Alzheimer's and cognitive ability. Nobody has any memory. I go to Starbucks every day. I tell them 3 things I want. They may get 1. Small iced coffee, black unsweetened, whipped cream on top, powdered cinnamon on top of that. And they'll miss the powdered cinnamon. They'll miss the black. Make sure there's no cream in there. Well, a lot of people get it black with cream, so then it's not black. Black means no cream. You just put the whipped cream on top. And then
Right.
it's, what size? I always start out small. And they have no memory. And you hear how I'm talking.
Yes.
I was up at 4 a.m., go to bed at midnight every day. Imagine your kid having the focus of a laser like I do. It's unbelievable. So, back to the DHA. See how I can pop around like this, not lose my train of thought?
Yep.
Get shoved into the skin when it shouldn't be there. The sunlight hits it. Well, yeah, we all know how bad radiation is, A and B, ultraviolet. It's not that at all. It's heat. Remember, DHA spontaneously oxidizes at 70. I'm out in the sun. My skin's hitting 100, 110. Boom. Age spots, call lipofuscin. Dermatologists don't have a clue how to stop skin cancer. All of the people taking our oils, hey, I used to get headaches going out in the sun after 20 minutes. That's a sign. Get out. You're EFA deficient. You have the oils now?
No
No
issues.
problem. You get a great tan. I'm in Houston. I'm in the heat all the time. It's nothing. Now I don't stay out in the sun because I'm working all the time, but I could stay at the pool for an hour and I'd have a beautiful tan in a week. No problem. I
Because
just
you
don't
don't get
care.
sunburned, correct? When
No.
the oils are correct, you're not
No.
getting any sunburn.
Now you will if you stay out 2 hours
yeah.
the first day or something crazy. But
Yeah.
with any kind of common sense, you build it up. because your skin is made to take the sun with the oils. I have 2 cats, and I'm always looking, and I take pictures of them. Where do they sit?
In the
Maximum
sun.
sunlight. Maximum sun. And what's your doctor saying? Oh, wear sunglasses indoors. Wear sunglasses. I'm looking at these older people looking like an idiot with sunglasses. They can't even see inside. They're walking, hitting things, and they didn't ask me a question, so I don't say anything. Here's the other kicker for the oils. How long does a molecule of DHA last in the brain? 2.5 years.
Really?
What?
What?
That's why it's called a half-life. The
Yeah.
average half-life is 2.5 years, meaning only half of it's gone. You still have the other half still left. So
Right.
half of it's 3.5, half of it's 1.5. The average is 2.5. So you get years where it stays there. And that's why you don't need what these nuts are telling you, and why you're going to kill yourself with the oils going in to, like I said, the mitochondria of the heart, causing congestive heart failure, which there's epidemics of now. Heart disease is hitting people in their 30s like
Yeah.
you wouldn't believe. Cancer is getting them, and
Mhm.
talk about that too after if we have time. Never used to have that. These were diseases of old age. Now it's diseases of younger age.
Yeah. Can I ask a question about the DHA? Where did they come up with that your brain needed so much? Like, how did that come about?
There is a lot in there. What they also don't tell you is 14% DHA.
Mhm.
They don't tell you 10% is AA, which is a long chain omega-6 lipid. So to an engineer like me, it's the same order of magnitude, 10% versus 14%. It's only 40% difference, 4/10 difference percentage-wise. So there's a lot in there. They didn't look at the half-life. How long does it stay in there? Where do half-lives come from? National Institutes of Health and the USDA, Department of Agriculture. I found it. Why didn't anybody else, if they cared to look? Lazy, or they do not want you to know so they can mislead you.
Mhm.
That is why. The analogy, Laurie, is the gas tank is full in your car. Hey, I want it right to the top. I'm going to put in another 5 gallons and it all goes in the ground. Well, the extra DHA you're eating and wasting your money on, by the way, is displacing the critical omega-6 and killing you everywhere. And nobody is told. I have doctors around the world using my oil protocol, and virtually everyone goes, Brian, my sickest patients have been taking fish oil for years.
Yeah, mine too.
Year two.
Yeah. I
Everyone
work with the
says the
brain all
same
the
thing.
time, mental health issues.
Well,
There's a
and
huge issue there.
this is the problem. And then when a lot of doctors will go, thank God you were taking it because you would have been as bad as you are now 2 years earlier. That's how they weasel out of that. They're liars.
Mhm.
And you see these books. I was talking to you off air and back. I've read every one. I don't get a book and not read it. It's read. You know how many decades it took to read those books? Textbook of medical physiology, you can see it in green. It's the standard one every doctor sees in medical school, but it took me a year to go through it as a systems guy. The
Mm,
physician looks at it to pass one course. So how does salt interact with anything else? And salt is required for diabetics. They're telling you to not eat any salt and it's high blood pressure. You have antidiuretic hormone that normalizes the blood pressure within 3 days. And this is directly from Dr. Leroux at the Hypertensive Institute at Cornell. I think it was Cornell, but he was on the cover of Time magazine. And I actually talked to him. And he called me back and said, Brian, salt is not the cause of high blood pressure in anybody. 1 out of
right,
5,000 people, but everybody is told get rid of the salt. And it's a co-transporter of insulin, so it makes insulin more effective. And it's the number one extracellular nutrient in your body is salt.
right?
Now, I like a good salt, like Flower of the Ocean or something, not
Yeah.
the industrialized salts. But we keep getting misled. That's why I had to write the books. But DHA's half-life, 2.5 years. People need to burn that into their memory. I don't need any more. There's enough. And then Dr. Rowan, who co-wrote PEO Solution with me,
Mhm.
Said, Brian, there's 7 landlocked countries. They have no marine life. There's no fish.
Mhm.
Do they have visual acuity, brain acuity problems, neurological problems? No. Well, why don't they? Because from the parent oils, which they get, body makes the derivatives just fine. Like I told you, all this is on my website, by the way. It's
Yes.
complicated stuff, but I've tried to make it as easy as I can, but it is complicated. And what I tell people is, look, you know more about how your car works than you do. If you don't
Yeah.
want to take a couple hours and learn about how you work, I can't help you. You're not going to listen to me. I don't want anybody believing a word. I'm the only one that on the bottom of every page, I give you the reference where it came from. So I
Mhm.
give you you read the books. I give you the actual quote. I'll translate it if it's complicated, what it means, but I give you the quote so
You
you can
do.
see what was
Yeah.
actually said because they lie about that too. I've
Yep.
seen numerous articles give a quote that was a lie, and I'd have to run down to the MD Anderson library, go, my God, because I don't do quotes of quotes. If I see a quote, I get the original paper where it came from. And that's a lot of work. Sometimes I'd be driving for an hour and a half just to go to the medical library 3 times a day. And thank goodness it can all be done on the internet now.
Yes.
But people need to see the science or they're doomed. Like I say, what I'm seeing walking around with all these fish oil people, and you go into health stores and they're all taking it, and on TV, they're all taking it. Seed oils, there's one word these people don't know. It's called an adjective. I guess they all failed English. Processed, adulterated versus unprocessed, fully functional. So what the oil manufacturers do is process the omega-6 oils. Nobody cooks with omega-3. You don't fry with flax oil, for example. It's
No.
too reactive. That's the 3 double bonds.
Mhm.
Well, fish oil has 5 double bonds. You would never fry with, but you go through the fish area in the supermarket and you used to get horrible smells. Now they bleach it and use all kinds of chemicals so nothing smells, but that's the fish going bad before your eyes.
Right.
So it goes bad, but they never cook with that. So to get longer shelf life on the omega-6 side, they hydrogenate it, they enterosterify it. There's all kinds of stuff you do to make it last longer. Problem is you don't get the oxygen transfer in the cell membrane. And on
Mhm.
a Warburg show, there's one prime cause of cancer. Lack of
The bond.
cellular oxygen, and these oils are cellular oxygenators. That's why you have the energy like me. Today has been just boom, 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 boom every 15 minutes. I just got back here after bringing my wife over to a doctor's appointment to take a look at her because she had a problem. So I got a real quick thing. So I came screaming back, but it's just no problem. Calm as heck inside. The mental acuity is just there, boom, boom, boom. And it's just one thing after another, calm as heck, not tired, not drained. I mean, I'm going to be working till midnight tonight, no problem, 7 days a week. And it is just horrible. So they're changing the structure. How they're doing it doesn't matter. It's cis versus trans. You've heard all this stuff. Hydrogenated oils, interesterified fat. That's what New York came up with to change it after they banned the trans fats. And I would tell my colleagues, wait till you see what they replace it with. It's going to
Right.
be worse. It's going to be worse. And an interesterified fat is worse. Makes you even more diabetic. So they're killing us and they give it a name and people don't ask any questions. So when I'm asked a question, I'll answer the questions and go, that implies that. That implies that. I go 3 levels deep because I like physics, mathematics, engineering. This is the way they used to do things 50 years ago. Hey, Laurie, you said this, but you didn't think about it implies 2 levels deep this. And you go, my God, I didn't think about that. Well, I
Yeah.
did. And nobody else does. I call them all surface dwellers. It's like, why is there so much DHA in the brain? It's there, but nobody asks the half-life because it stays there. I don't need any new ones for 2.5 years. So this is the problem. So there's an adjective, adulterated, fully functional. So anybody using any oils, organic. That guarantees there's no pesticides and the processing is non-chemical.
Your brain runs the show, so don't let toxins run it ragged. God designed our bodies to heal when we remove the interference, and Zeo Charge from Zeolite Labs helps me do just that. This detox magnet targets heavy metals, mold, and other toxins while sparing your essential minerals. It is clean, third-party tested, and so easy to use. So I want you to take back your brain today with Zeo Charge. Get it now at zeolitelabs.com. That is ZEOLITE labs.com.
If it's not organic, it's not sufficient. Cold press alone is not sufficient. You want
Right.
organic. So any cooking oil, sunflower, safflower, canola oil is horrible. Soy oil is food for a pig. I would lecture extensively in Iowa. If you ever smelled soy, you would run like the dickens.
It's awful.
You would
It's
never eat it.
awful.
So they
No.
deodorize it. They conned women initially refrigerating the garbage. They called it soy milk. It's not milk, it's soy water. Now they stopped doing it. But all they do is con you. It's estrogen, and it's effeminating all the guys. So I know a lot of people that their mothers put them on that garbage,
Yeah.
40 years ago, and they had problems, developmental problems because of soy. And then the women get overdosed on estrogen. So what kills me is you want an estrogen receptor blocker because estrogen's going to kill the woman for cancer. Wait a minute. It's a natural hormone.
Right.
Nature wants you dead. It's like with the omega-6, it's in everything except the grass and a few other things. Nature wants to kill you. Are you out of your mind? Nature wants you to thrive. So it's not giving you something to kill you. It's what we're doing to it. Nature never thought we would be this stupid. That's the problem. So anything with fat, organic, that's where you spend your money. Eggs, bacon, butter, cheese, milk, cream. Not big on milk because it's homogenized. You don't want that. Has XOs, xanthine oxidase. That's like battery acid. So half and half, but get unhomogenized, low temp, longer pasteurization you can get. If you need to get it, there's a couple brands, one out of Iowa, Supernaturals. It's great for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot people need to know, or you're going to try and harm yourself.
Right.
But bang for the buck is anything that's oil-based, fat-based, organic, because all the residues get stored in the animal's fat, and you're going to be eating it. And the same thing when you start being on a weight loss program, your fat has got all this stored junk. It comes out. So that's why I like a detoxifier. I started with Essiac. People can look it up. It's been around a long time. I turbocharged it by eating cat's claw, and I'm sure Pure Form has that too if you want it. So that's a detoxifier.
Yeah.
And it's just to help you get rid of the junk in the body you don't want from the food. But we keep getting misled, and we keep getting stuff in the food. Now, the colors are a good start with Kennedy. I applaud them. Don't get me wrong. I applaud it. But it is all the processing of the oils, and nobody knows this. Nobody knows how bad it is. And, of course, you may see a sentence, oh, yeah, you don't want highly processed, super processed food. That's not specific enough. You need to stay with the one thing. It's all in the oils. Proteins don't get processing to any big effect. Carbs don't either. Carbs are junk. I mean, they're cheap, so people eat them. Protein, steak, hamburger, meats, that's the proteins. But they typically not processed much, so there's nothing to worry. It's all in the oils.
Right.
So everything is not equal. Everything is not moderation. Spend your money over here. You don't need to spend too much over here.
Right. So when people are eating
Yeah.
grass-fed meat,
Yeah.
do you see much if we're buying conventionally grown meat from like the grocery store?
It's loaded with steroids. It's loaded with hormones. It's loaded with all
That
kinds
changes the fat content, right?
what goes into the fat. And even
Yeah.
these people, what they're saying is all natural. That means nothing.
Nothing.
Never any antibiotics. They're lying because they will take an animal out, give it antibiotics, shove it back in, and they have some exclusion in the law to get around that. So It's horrible. It's
Hmm.
horrible how we're misled. If it doesn't say organic or like at Whole Foods where there's no added antibiotics or hormones, where they don't specifically say that, you're getting it. I don't care what they say because there's no definition that means anything. It's like cage-free eggs means nothing.
Nothing.
All that means is they have a cage with a door that's open and they can go out, but they're not encouraged to go out. It has to be pasture raised.
Yeah.
That means something. It means they're in a pasture.
Hmm.
So people keep getting misled and misled and misled. It is tragic.
Yeah. When we're talking about the brain and stuff, there's been,
Yeah,
you know, omega-3 for the brain, omega-3. We covered that. You
it's
don't need all.
failed all over the place.
Yeah.
They have a couple dementia, Alzheimer drugs that do next to nothing. They basically got approved because so many people said approve it because we have nothing. And the FDA just said, give them some hope. Well, to me, I'm not big on false hope.
No.
That's misleading people thinking there is hope when there was never any hope to begin with. So the FDA is great. Don't get me wrong. The FDA tries. They really do because we're working on them. I'm working on a drug to reverse heart disease, and they're just a pleasure to work with. They
That's
want to
good to
see,
know. Yeah.
yeah, and it's going to be the first organic drug. So if there's anybody out there with some money, it's about 7 million to do the trial. And we have the former director, cardiovascular disease of both Merck and Bayer on
Wow.
board going, Brian, you have a winner. And the cool part, Laurie, is 10 years ago, I saw him, spent a lot of money, a lot of time going to New York, looked at what I had. Brian, I'll never forget it. I don't share your enthusiasm. I said, but look at the science here. You don't have anybody on your staff that doesn't know. We just look at lipids in the bloodstream. I said, well, I'd look at them in the tissue. He said, we don't have that. So I figured I'd send him where I am now. It was 10 years later. I was 2015.
Mhm.
So I sent him it, Brian, this is really compelling. And what we can do is we have proof we can reverse coronary artery calcium. It's called CAC. It's the number one predictor of heart events. It dwarfs LDL-C. And anybody on a statin should be petrified because
Yes.
statins increase CAC. The number one predictor of heart disease, a statin makes worse.
Hmm.
These physicians don't have a clue. There's 50 million people on statins. This will be the biggest drug anybody's ever seen. And we already got a phase 2 approval. We're working on phase 3, which means we're going to be ready to go at the end of the year. And it's just exciting as the dickens. The former chair of MD Anderson plastic reconstructive surgery is on board because he wanted expedited healing in all his breast reconstruction patients.
Oh, yeah.
And he put about 100 people on the Pureform formulation, and the results were spectacular, helping them heal faster. So we have clinical in human people with these results that is very exciting. Very, very exciting. But
So,
the brain is helped enormously. Now, there's not a lot of parents in the brain, but there was a major article that came out because everybody talks about proteins,
mhm.
folding and unfolding, being told what to do. It's DNA is a protein, RNA is protein. Lipids tell the protein what to do. So the
Correct.
lipid is the puppet master. The proteins are down here, and the oils are telling the proteins what to do. Came out in 2018. I have not seen one other journal article pick it up. Zero. In 7 years. Here's the problem. It doesn't like the Journal of Biological Chemistry. There's no physician that's going to read that. They read JAMA, New England Journal of Medicine,
Right. Right.
Lancet. I live in the physiology journals, Journal of Lipids, Journal of Biological Chemistry, Journal of Molecular Chemistry. So this stuff comes out, but it never translates, which is sinful. So the physicians don't get it. I try to give it, but I'm only one small guy. I'm not big enough. So the physicians never get this. their recommendations are 20 years old. It's
Right.
not their fault. You try and stay cutting edge, but it's hard, hard, hard when something big comes out that nobody sees. And you look at how many views there are, 50, 100. There should be 20,000, 100,000. There isn't. It's sad. So I specialize in state-of-the-art physiology, and that's why the results we get are unbelievable. I burned the heck out of my first finger because I smoke cigars. Here's one.
Uh-huh.
And like an idiot, I was on the phone talking to somebody. So the top, was hot. I got this nice lighter. Top was hot. And I put my finger on it and I'm talking. It's like, ah. So I ran it under cold water, but white underneath, pus, which is healing. Took half an hour where it hurt when I touched it. After the half an hour, that's called acute phase
Uh-huh.
of inflammation. After the half hour, it's called the resolution phase where healing already came in. Half an hour later. Now, touch it, nothing. This was 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Nobody gets healing like this, the oils. And
Right.
it's not topical. Internal because it makes the structure. So we have these kind of testimonials from physicians and their patients all over the place. I've got 11, 12, 13 pages of them. And the results are so we've had people taken off of COPD, inhalers, oxygen, less than a week.
Love it.
And I read it. And I said I could believe it in maybe 90 days. But it was a doctor I knew, an
Mhm.
MD. They're not going to lie. I'm not paying them anything to lie. I don't want you lying. I always tell them, just be direct, honest. I want
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
conservative. I don't need liars. I don't want you embellishing anything. It's a vasodilator. So the Paran Omega-6 is an oxygenator. So that is the number one complaint of all Americans. I have no energy. I'm tired. Again, the Walking Dead running around.
Yeah.
And they're all exhausted. And there's no excuse for it. Immediately, we have athletes taking these oils within 20 minutes. Boom. If you're tired, like I said, I'd work late at night.
They're
If I start
amazing.
getting
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a little, I'm sure you've seen it. I get a little tired at 11 o'clock, take 2 oils, 20 minutes later, I got another hour. I have surgeons taking these oils. I said, Doc, I'll work on a new deal with you. You get them free, but I want 10% of your additional surgery charge because one big one at MD Anderson doing thoracic, I can do an extra surgery now. And
Wow.
these are big, long 4 or 5 hour surgery. I can do an extra one. And it gives you the attention like you wouldn't believe. But people don't know what feeling good should be like. And the only way to
Yeah.
get this kind of energy is these oils. There's other ways you can get it temporarily. But again, changing the physiology because these oils incorporate into the brick and mortar, into the cell, into the organ, into the tissue. Nothing like this. So it is like, you don't need the oxygen things they have on TV. They have people with canisters of oxygen for sports, woofing pure oxygen in, which isn't really cool. But you don't need it. We have athletes all over the place with the
Yeah.
advantage of these oils. It's amazing.
The thing
Back
about
to your
oxygen.
brain.
Go
You
ahead.
want to
Yeah.
hear why these oils are critical
Yes.
to the brain? Because I know you're big
Yes.
on that. What nobody's told, 70 million capillaries. Okay.
Mhm.
Capillaries are where the oxygen transfer is and where the nutrient transfer is into all the cells, the neurons everywhere. What's a capillary made of? Parent omega-6, 100%. So I have a whole paper on my website, just my name, brianpeskin.com. Won't cost you a nickel. Alzheimer's dementia, it talks about this. 70 million, it's all Paran Omega-6. They're so small, you can't see them on an x-ray. You see them on it's electron microscopy you have to do,
Right.
electron microscope, and 70 million. So just imagine they're all clogged up. No oxygen, no nutrients. You get a zombie.
Yep.
So it's predictable. And I actually went to Methodist Hospital at a conference. Is dementia, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease? And her answer was yes. Has nothing to do with beta amyloid. Beta amyloid's a protein. It's leaking out of the cell because we have defective parent omega 6 and parent omega 3 in that membrane.
Mm-hmm.
You get a hole, leaks out, and goes everywhere. So you think this stuff leaking on a neuron is going to do anything after it's, no, the membrane's gone. So just looking at beta amyloid, which they've been a one-trick pony for 25 years in this, getting nowhere, and none of their drugs have worked at all. I mean, our effectiveness is unbelievable with like CAC. We had a 30% difference. The people, we reversed hard plaque by 14.5%. Or 17%, one of the two, and the people not taking the oils increased 14 to 70% per year.
Wow.
The CAC goes up, but 30% net difference between the two groups. That's enormous, statistically significant. When the physician saw this, it was like, my goodness. And we submitted it to the FDA, and they're impressed.
Yeah.
And they're really impressed.
You were
So
talking
70
earlier.
million capillaries can now be fully functional with these oils. And we just started to get some people with dementia. We had one that was non-communicative woman, 90, won't talk, just look at you with a scowl. She started talking within a month.
That's amazing, Brian.
And is cognitive. So she was aware instead of a zombie. Now they have ads where you just see agitation. You got a zombie on TV.
Yeah.
That's the poor mother that's in her 90s. And then she gets mad and starts swearing at you. It's horrible. And there's no need for it. Alzheimer's was a disease of very old age, in the 70s. One or two, you'd hear it now and then.
Right.
But nobody'd get it till late 80s, 90s. And there's no reason even. My mother is 95, sharp as a tack. And she's fallen a few times because she has a walker. No broken hip, no broken anything. The doctor's speechless. What is this woman doing to miss this? Because you fall from standing up. That's a big fall.
It is.
They typically break their hip, they're in the hospital, and they're dead within 6 months. Anybody can look up those statistics. You get a broken hip, you're not coming out of it. It's unbelievable what these oils do. The bone matrix is made of these oils. Calcium is just dumped on the end. It's supposed to have flexible bone. I don't want a bone like a rock. It hits, it shatters. You want a flexible bone. And she even fell in a parking lot, slipped off of an Uber car.
Oh, my.
Hit her head on the stop where you stop for a car.
Yeah.
Out of the hospital 3 days. They were going to release her that day. I said, you're not releasing anybody. You're keeping her overnight for observation. Yeah, but she has no anything. We CTs get. I said, you're keeping her 3 days. Because if she falls again, they'll have a lawsuit. They cap her.
Right.
No problem. No meds, no pain meds, the oils. And she was taking the oils for years before she fell. So it's pre-treated. It's not just after the fact.
Right.
This is the way the human body is designed. We're a human Ferrari turned into a piece of junk because of the wrong fuel.
Yeah.
Nature never saw the problem. Now back to the brain. There's not a lot of parents in the brain, but remember, they control the proteins.
Right.
And it's 100-to-1 parent omega 6 to parent omega 3 in the brain. So again, your little nutritionist is telling you you're overdosed on omegas. Go back to school, learn some physiology, or shut the hell up. I mean, I can't contain myself with these people because every word out of their mouth is wrong.
Yeah.
I was over at Texas Southern University, and they brought me in the nutrition department, and I saw the president and said, I can't be here. The head of the department had a stroke himself. He's on oxygen.
Wow.
Given all the books he has, he obviously doesn't know what the heck to do to stop a heart problem. I said, I need to be somewhere else. He goes, you need to be in the pharmacy division. I said, yeah, but I'm not a pharmacist. They won't want me, because They
Yeah.
like their own. They said, look, give them some of your work. These guys are pretty good. Get a call back in a month. Your work's outstanding. Come on over here for a year. So I was over there for a year. That's the professor part. And it was really exciting doing some research. And nobody has this. But my joke with nutritionists is a nutrition degree does not qualify you to teach nutrition. You're not qualified. I've had people cry in lectures when I say that. I've
Right.
lectured around the world extensively. I wasted my entire degree, and I couldn't argue. They don't learn any science.
No,
It's
not at all.
it's sad. It's political. And the average person doesn't know this. They don't know it.
Yeah.
The mistakes are huge. I'm over at the doctor's office with my wife. She had a little pressure ulcer because of the way she's using her wheelchair. So we fixed that. The nurse putting in the info goes, there's no pressure ulcer listed here. She has some type of cyst. I said, well, that's their diagnosis, not mine. I said, it's an ulcer. Well, it's a cyst. I said, they wrote that. I'm not disputing that. I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
it's wrong. I know what an ulcer is. I know what a cyst is. Surgeon comes in. This is an ulcer. I'm looking at
Yes,
my
we know.
wife. Well, wound healing, because of Dr. Rob, he taught me a lot. And over at MD Anderson, the mistakes that are made are incredible.
Yeah.
And I remember when statins came out, I'm seeing a couple of professors over at University of Southern California. Oh, statins are going to stop all heart disease. There's nobody in our offices anymore. I said, well, my office is back in Houston. We're overflowing. What are you talking about? And you can go in today. Statins have done nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
Now, here,
Nothing.
let me tell you,
They
see where
create lots of problems, though.
the adverse effects are horrible. But let me tell you what they do. They lower LDL-C. I didn't tell you. How are these oils transported in the bloodstream?
And we're told not
They're
to
not
smoke,
just floating
Brian.
around in the bloodstream. They're
Yeah.
tied to the cholesterol molecule, which is called the cholesterol molecule. So
Mm-hmm.
picture the cholesterol molecules here. The oils are here with a magnet. It's called lipoprotein. So that's how they go around in the bloodstream. So you take a statin. It lowers it. So it lowers the bad oils. Remember, there's a ton of bad oils from the food processors.
Yeah.
And there's also good oils because they're not all bad. If they were all bad, you die. So even with food processing, maybe 60, 70% of the oils are ruined. So you're going to get 30% that are okay, but that's not enough. The answer is not to lower it. The answer is to put more of the good oils back in and minimize the bad ones.
Right.
Now, thank God, Professor Lanz did a great study in 1990 showing the oils go in as a percentage of what you consume.
Mm.
So the more oils, like with pure form,
Mm-hmm.
the more good stuff comes in. And that's the way you do it. So no matter what statins do with your doctor, you need the good oils to come in. That's the answer. And actually, the people who won the Nobel Prize, Goldstein, lives in Dallas now, said you need to be looking at the cholesterol esters. That's what the oils are. It's an ester. It's attached.
Yeah.
You just get rid of the water. It's called an ester. It's chemistry. You don't need to know it. I like magnets. It's just magnetized to it. That's where you find the answer is in the esters, and they did nothing with it, and nobody did anything with it. So we stand on the shoulders of giants like Warburg and Goldstein,
Yeah.
and advance the science to what the root cause is. So I'm real good at connecting the dots, and because I'm a systems guy, input's the food, you're the system, output is your state of health, how fat you are. Simple. There's a problem with the output, it's real simple. Sick as hell, you got a problem. But the system, God doesn't make mistakes. Human Ferrari. Well, Brian, there's no cholesterol sensor in the bloodstream, and there isn't. First thing when I saw that, why? Genetic mistake? No, because it's not needed. Why? Because if you know mathematical systems, it's called a dependent variable. Well, what the hell does that mean? It means when I have a system, everything is whatever it is. And the last one, so it fits, is constrained. It is what it is. And that's what cholesterol is. It's a dependent variable. And that's why no sensor's needed. It doesn't matter. And by the way, they kept changing the number. It used to be 250, then it went to 230, 220, 210. Now, if you've had a heart attack, they're saying to bring your cholesterol down to less than 70, which will kill you
Will kill
because
you. And I see people sick.
it will kill
So,
you.
my gosh.
It's transporting the good oils. So if I bring it down to 70, I don't have any of the good oils being transported.
Right.
I'm going to die. They're in 100 trillion cells. A quarter to a third are them. Well, what if there's not enough? I got 100. Now you got this nonsense on the internet, some oil fat they're selling. They're calling it a new EFA. I'm not even going to give the brand name, but it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
There is none. There's two, parent omega-6, parent omega-3. And the amount of what's in this other oil in the cell membrane is next to nothing. It's less than like 0.5%. So how can it be essential? The other one is 25 to 33%, a quarter to a third. And this is minuscule in the noise. There's not enough in there to do anything.
Right.
I just look at this and go, it never ends. People get conned and conned and conned. It doesn't stop. It's the blind leading the blind. And unless they have physiology, which no doctor studies, they don't. I get a big lecture at A4M in Vegas, and a professor came up at the end, and we were talking. He goes, Brian, you just gave so much stuff. You lost me after 15 minutes. I said, Doc, you're being too hard. I gave you 20 years shoved down your throat in an hour. That's
Right.
impossible. I said, but don't you have your students learning physiology? He started laughing. He goes, no, that's too hard. We don't typically do undergraduate degrees in physiology.
Right.
It's like with cholesterol. It doesn't matter what you do, your body varies it. They had one guy at Harvard who was a physiologist eating 12, 14 eggs a week. His cholesterol didn't change. And it was like, why don't you do this study 20? Because they didn't want you knowing.
Right. So what do you do
they
with the
don't do
people that have high cholesterol numbers and those kind of things, and they're eating a fantastic diet? They don't have any bad oils in it. They're exercising. What do you do with those people?
cholesterol? I really don't care what the number is. Like I told you, it's a dependent variable.
Yep.
Even with people with hypercholesterolemia, meaning like 500, if
Yeah.
it was as bad as they say, they'd be dead in a year. They're not. They live a long time. There's other problems they typically have, but it doesn't concern me. But the cool thing is when you start taking these oils, the LDL-C does go down because Dr. Rob told me that. I said, honestly, I don't care, but you're an MD, so all you guys do care. So
Right.
that's great. And the reason why the heck's it go down? Because now I have more of the good oils, so I need less cholesterol to go around the body.
That's true. So if you've
By
been
the way,
eating,
anybody looking at this with the cigar, what's this jackass doing? Obviously, I'm no jackass. So if this was hurting
clearly,
me, I have to have a way around it. And
Mhm.
the oils, and I can prove it, because there's a device called digital plethysmography. It's blood flow. You just put your finger in. You can see it on my website.
Yep.
And it measures the arterial flexibility, like a balloon, of the large arteries, like your aorta, your transverse artery, and the small arteries, like in your legs, so your peripheral arteries, and also the amount of occlusion, plaque you have in the artery. I come out 98 out of 100, meaning my arteries are as flexible as you'll ever get. And the amount of plaque is of a 25-year-old, which is nothing, in spite of this, which is not good. I'm not telling anybody to smoke, but I like smoking and writing and typing and researching and talking and stuff. It's just relaxing to me, not because of the nicotine or anything. There's nothing addicting to a cigar. People don't understand that. But I have to do stuff that's not good. So I can say, in spite of not being perfect, like exercise, I like it. Like bodybuilding, I just can't do it because I can't say, so you eat great, you don't smoke, you don't do this, you exercise your tail off, take the oils and you'll be good. Well, I'd say in spite of not exercising, in spite of, I'm a social drinker, in spite of smoking the cigars, I say the health is outstanding. So that's proof. And everybody else taking these oils is the same thing. It's not, we're just one guy, you got lucky. No. Good genes aren't going to
Right.
circumvent a dietary deficiency. It's like exercise cannot influence physiologic structure. It can
Right.
give you a little more stroke of the heart, make your mitochondria a little more, but minor. The oils are what it does. Any more specific brain things? So the parent omega 6-3 in the brain is 100 to 1, 6 to 3. The oils control the proteins, and you got 70 million capillaries where the oxygen transfer, nutrient transfer takes place. And it's easy to screw them up because they're so small. So
Right.
it takes a long time to screw up the big artery, aorta or
Mhm.
something, just because it's so big, so I can get plaque and all kind. But a little capillary, I don't have the luxury. So when those go, they're gone. And that's why you get The Walking Dead. It's not in your future. It doesn't have to be. The number one supplement anybody should be taking are these oils because they make the brick and mortar structure. So I hope people look at brianpeskin.com. I mean, I know I'm going real fast and there's a lot of
You're
ping
good.
ponging because if I get on one area, oh, by the way, this, but you can see how I connect it. And this
Yeah.
is after a day of running around like you wouldn't believe. I've already been to 6 places driving. So it's this person, that person, this person. 6 places in spite of doing stuff at home on the computer. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, but I'm very calm, very controlled. And I still have this kind of facility, and you and your kids can too. Just put these oils in you. That's it. That's the only variable.
So if people have been eating crappy for years, they've been ingesting all these oils and they start taking, like pure form,
Yeah.
how long does it take to displace those bad oils and get your body get
Excellent
rid of them?
question. Takes 18 weeks to get rid of the fish oil. That was looked at. So to get rid of thank God it's only 18 weeks. That's only 4.5 months. It's not
Yeah.
like 4 years. You keep getting better and better and better, probably a year and a half.
Mhm.
Because it's like, I can't solve an iron deficiency by taking a bottle of iron capsules, right? Your
Right.
body's not going to let you do it. It'd be too much all at once and you could risk dying. Same thing with the oils, even though they're critically good, taking 5 times more isn't the answer. Your body's only going to assimilate it so fast. But 1 year to get everything replaced isn't much,
And is
given
that
you
if not ever having a bad oil again?
it'll
Or
be
can
fat.
can
Well,
once
it goes in as a percentage. So
okay.
you can have fast food once a week.
Mhm.
It's not you have to be a monk. It's all percentage. So if you're going to eat some junk food, take an extra couple of oils.
Mhm.
That's what you can do. You'll counteract most of it. I'm going to get a banh mi sandwich. It's not going to be organic. It's not going to be anything. But most of the time I cook at home. So I'm a good cook because I'm heavy science. And I sous vide everything, which is controlled water temperature cooking. I actually have a pure silver pan because it has the highest conductivity of any metal in the world. So it
Amazing.
preheats in 3 minutes.
Ah.
Yeah, I mean, I love cooking. Love cooking.
So what's the
And
difference between your supplement and then somebody was gonna go get
get something else.
like an evening primrose oil supplement from another company? What's
Evening
the difference?
primrose oil is it's all parent omega 6 with GLA.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I like using some of it, but I like a mixture. Number one, by having a mixture of oils, you minimize the chance of being sensitive to any particular oil. And then
Mhm.
it's made for an overall formulation. Even though you don't need a lot of parent omega 3, you want some of it because, like I said, the tissue is heart, lungs, kidney, it's 4 to 1. So
Yeah.
it's not zero omega-3. So I like balance. And then you want the GLA from the evening primrose oil. So something like Pureform or any company I recommend will have the right ratio that's just phenomenal.
Right. Right. And how do you
Very
keep
good
it from going
question.
bad?
These oils don't go bad on their own easily.
Okay.
You need at least 3 double bonds. So
Mm,
everybody says, oh, omega-6 goes bad. It's highly resistant to going bad in the body. No, it doesn't. Even cholesterol doesn't go bad in the body. It's gone bad from the food processors when you eat
right.
it. And this actually comes from Professor Spiteler, top German biochemist. He was the #1 guy, and I've talked to him. Wrote extensively on this, that the food processing has the omega-6 go bad and has the cholesterol go bad. They are highly resistant to going bad in the body. Again, nature doesn't want you dead, but you have antioxidants in the body. Like when you look at the antioxidant level to the level of cholesterol, it's 165 molecules or cholesterol to 1 molecule of antioxidant. So wait a minute. I got one guy defending 165. Yeah, that's all that's needed. So again, nobody prints this, nobody
That's
publishes
efficient.
this.
Yeah.
It's all you need. It's efficient because it's not going bad in the body. Now, flax has 3 double bonds, but EPA has 5, DHA has 6, and it's not just a percentage going bad faster. It's more exponential, so it's a curve that,
Gotcha.
it's
Yeah.
whoomp, gets real bad. So there's a pile of science here again
Yeah. Yeah.
that nobody looks at. They just lie to you and mislead you.
Yeah.
And that's why it's critical people really start seeing what I've written. And there's a lot of lectures on there where I just talk
Mhm.
this kind of stuff. This is like trying to take a drink from a fire hose.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of talk out there about, and this is what I learned when I first, got my certification as an NTP, out of college and those kind of things. Like cod liver oil is the best thing you could ever
Horrible.
have for the brain. Can you just spell that for us, please, in Brian Peskin way?
Big study, 1997, came out of, I believe, Norway.
Yeah.
They looked at women taking cod liver oil. 3 times more melanoma than the women that didn't take it. Incredible study. Nobody had cancer when they started. Everybody that had cancer had to be confirmed with pathology. The registry was for the entire country. It lasted 12 years follow-up. I write about it in my book on cancer, Hidden Story of Cancer. Nobody wanted to see this because
Right.
the country's surrounded by water. They're fishing. So they buried it and made it under-publicized. But I
Mm.
found it. And it was published in a cancer journal. So anybody taking cod liver oil, throw it down the toilet where it belongs.
Which I think is
The
key because
poison. And it has nothing, let me make this clear. It
yes,
has nothing to do with the purity of the oil.
thank you.
Marine oil is antifreeze for a fish. Prove it to you because Dr. Rowan gave me some info. I throw you in the water, you're going to freeze hypothermia, right?
Mhm.
Because we're all water inside, 70% water. 30-degree water, you'll freeze. Well, nature has 2 ways not to have that happen. Loads you up with alcohol because I put vodka in the freezer, it doesn't freeze. Or long-chain fatty acids. They don't freeze either. If I do the alcohol, I have a drunk fish. So it gives way more DHA. But here's the kicker. There are warm water fish at 70 degrees. How much DHA do they have? More or less than the cold water fish? Less.
Yes.
You know how much less?
I don't.
14 times less.
Wow.
Not 14%, 1,400%. A factor of 14. So if there was 100 in the cold water fish, it'd be next to nothing in the warm water fish.
Right.
You go down to 14. So it's way, because the body doesn't want it. What are we doing? We're 98.6 and we're taking this super physiologic overdose like a moron. If nature could ever see and talk about what we're doing, we are killing ourselves as well as you could possibly do it if I wanted you dead. How the hell can we? Because we're not getting blood flow. And again, these oils are vasodilators.
Yeah.
Well, I can have this, and I'm getting the blood flow to counteract it. So there's no issue in getting the blood flow to the frontal lobe. And there's no empathy anymore. People are typically,
Oh,
they don't care.
yeah.
They're driving on the road, they're shooting people. There are accidents all the time, but they're always running around mad. That goes when you're taking these oils. It
That is true.
completely changes. You got to see a big difference. And a lot of
Oh,
the
yeah.
improvements people don't see until I tell them, did you see this, see this, to see this?
Yep.
Actually, I did see those two other effects. I just wasn't looking for it. I was looking for the energy because that's the number one complaint
Mhm.
and the lack of tiredness and the increased focus. But now that you mention it, I'm calmer. I don't get the damn headaches. A lot of women get headaches all the time. They take a hike, blood flow.
Yeah.
Skin, phenomenal. We've had numerous eczema cases go way down. A self-patient doc, 90% of his body had eczema, 3 months, down 90%.
Wow.
Naturopath, so he's tied to everything too.
Right.
And until he found these oils and the flexibility of heart disease, because that's our number one killer, and
Yep.
cancer, Otto Warburg conclusively showed 35% less cellular oxygen to the cell. Not the
Mhm.
pulse oximeter where you put your finger in and get, 98. Everybody's got that unless you're half dead. Cellular, and it's never measured. You don't feel it, you don't see it. Cancer is spontaneous and it can be intermittent. And this was proven in America where they deprived heart cells of oxygen.
Yeah.
Everyone developed cancer. The oxygenated cells got no cancer. 1953, 1955, buried in the textbooks, published in the cancer journals, and I'm the only one making use of this.
Well, thank you for
Sinful.
making use of it, Brian.
Well, thanks for having me. And whoever hears this, you've impacted their life if they want to implement it.
Right.
That's all we can do is get it to them. I can't take a gun and make you do it, nor would I want to. You have freedom of choice in America. I just hope you'll listen to this 3 or 4 times because there's so much. It's like trying to take a drink from a fire hose and
It
then
is.
hit my website, hit the books, go to
Yeah.
lectures, have a physician like you or health coach like you that can consult that knows this stuff. Because outside of somebody like Dr. Pompa that knows the cell membrane, there's next to nobody.
I know.
There are very, very few groups that get this that I lecture to. I do now and then. The Forum for Integrative Medicine, I had a big lecture in April in Austin. That's so a couple hundred docs heard me,
Yeah.
knocked them off their chair. Said, I've never heard anybody talk like this. We keep getting misled. And you can't get enough of this because seed oils are bad. Seed oils are going to kill you. Processed, adulterated will kill you. And they
Yeah.
need to put the adjective in there because if they're organic, unprocessed, they are essential. EFA stands for essential fatty acid. And I don't like the word fatty acid. That's why I call them parent essential oils because it's a chemical thing. It's not like battery acid or sulfuric acid. People think that
Right.
mistakenly. So I don't like the term, but parent oils are in the literature. I didn't make that up. I did coin parent essential oils, but parents are in the literature because they're the foundation and then they make the offspring. And with the offspring, it's called the delta 6 desaturase. We really specialize in that. Can be impaired so you don't get enough of the conversion, but it's very little. It's less than 0.1% go to derivatives. And the mistake in the medical community was initially they thought it was 37% got converted. They didn't have high resolution chromatography, so they misled everybody. It's less than 0.1%. So if I have 100 starting with the parent, I end up with 1/10 of the derivative, and that's normal.
Wow.
And they act like, oh, that's so low, there's a problem over here. There's no problem. It's supposed to be low because that's all you need. Unless you're overdosing with that DHA, fish oil, marine oil. It's all the same junk. Antifreeze for a fish. I don't care if it's super squid, blue, green, lipid tipped mussel. They come up with 100 things to sucker you that this garbage is special. It's a marine oil. It's all the
Yeah.
same stuff. Let me leave you with one other thing in the seed oils. Here's how stupid they are. And they are stupid. And I didn't like this, but I tell everybody, you look at conservative media now, and they're all beside themselves with swearing at the other side, derogatory terms. I
Yeah.
said, they have to do it because there's nothing else. A moron's a moron. I mean, I can't get around it. Oh, you're a nice guy and, you're smart. No, you're not. You're an idiot. You're absolutely wrong. The impairment cannot be fixed, so you have to compensate, and that's why GLA is important, and that's why it has to be in a formulation. So any right formulation, organic, more parent omega-6 and parent omega-3, needs none or extremely little of the DHA, and it needs GLA to help compensate for the impairment. 9 diseases and disorders have the impairment in the delta-6, making the derivatives, and that's heart disease, diabetes, even if you're shooting insulin or taking oral meds, fatty liver disease, COPD, asthma, eczema, heart disease. Any inflammatory-based disease has an impairment in this pathway, and no drug company is touching it because it has to be accentuated, not blocked. So they have cholesterol reductase inhibitors, beta blockers. Everything in a drug company is a block, and that's why you get the side effects. But the delta-6 needs to be accentuated and get bigger, and they don't know how to do it. So that's what you need to look for in a supplement, like Pureform or anybody I consult with. And you just can overdose with DHA so little, you don't need it. Your body is going to make it. They even looked at vegetarians eating no fish. They had normal levels of DHA. This is all in my publishing. It's all
Yep.
there, and I give you where it was and the quote. And as far as the seed oils being bad, the American Heart Association, 2007, 2017, said anybody saying omega-6 is pro-inflammatory has a naive understanding of the biochemistry. That's the quote. That's what I was going to say. Has a naive understanding of the biochemistry. They're an idiot because it's so critical. Any of the inflammatory areas, because everything is inflammatory. I cut myself. I need inflammation to have the blood scream out, and then the anti-inflammatory comes in to seal it. So you always have to have inflame and anti-inflame. But the anti-inflammation on the omega-6 side is much stronger than the inflammatory side. Naive understanding of biochemistry. I'll never forget it. It's like whoever said that had to see my work because I can be pretty derogatory, and I'm shocked they used it. They used it because that was not my term, but they were beside themselves, and now look at what it is.
Yeah.
They don't say anything except how bad it is everywhere. And the last thing is everybody's a parrot. People go, oh, this journal says the same thing as this, and now they're pulling AI stuff. I tell them there's no intelligence in AI. It's wicked fast. And instead of looking at 5 websites, it's looking at 55. But all 55 are still wrong. It's the same garbage because they parrot each other, and you can see when you look at it. And I have doctors going, oh, AI is wonderful, and here's what it's. I said, Doc, this is dead wrong. You read my work. How are you putting this on your website? It's the same wrong garbage. It's just so sad.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a world where lie is the truth and truth is a lie.
Yep.
And people can't discern. And if you put these oils in, you'll be able to discern pretty fast gold from tin.
Brian, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all the work you're doing. I learn something from you every single time I hear you.
There's so much.
So much. Yes.
I mean, I have people doing that all the time. Even I'll read my own stuff and go, hey, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, you wrote it.
Oh,
Or
wait, you
people
wrote that.
quote me. And I'll go, hey, this is a hell of a good article. Oh, and then they reference me at the end, thanks.
Yeah.
Some of them do that. A lot of them just steal it and don't give any due words due. But I always give proper due to anybody I get information from, like Warburg and all of them. Standing on the shoulders of genius. Well, it's been great.
It's been great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you leave this podcast an amazing review because I know each and every one of you learned something or 10,000 things today that you didn't know before. So go back and listen to it again. Leave a review, share it with everyone. And God bless each of you. And I will see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Take Back My Brain. If today's episode helped you connect with hope or direction, I want you to follow the show, leave us a review, and share it with someone who needs it. And if you're ready to start your own healing journey, explore our courses and our coaching programs at lauriehammer.com/store. So until next time, remember, you cannot medicate away a nutrient deficiency, and healing your brain isn't just possible, it's powerful.